Once upon a time, in a vibrant village nestled in the heart of Nigeria, there lived a young girl named Adebi. Her name meant, daughter of the king, in her native Igbo language, and she was known for her brave heart and curious nature. The village was surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills, and it thrived with the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Adebi had a special gift that made her unique in her village. She could speak to spirits. The elders told tales of the spirit world, where creatures both kind and mischievous dwelt, but only Adebi could see and communicate with them. Although her gift was rare, it was not always accepted. In her village, speaking to spirits was considered strange and was often frowned upon. Many villagers believed it was a practice that should be left in the past, but Adebi's parents encouraged her to embrace her abilities, believing they were a gift from the ancestors. One day, as the sun rose, coloring the sky in shades of orange and pink, Adebi wandered into the forest. She loved listening to the whispers of the spirits who told her stories of ancient times. But this morning was different. A chilling wind blew, and the atmosphere felt tense. Adebi sensed that something was wrong. As she ventured deeper into the forest, she met an old spirit named Ezin, who appeared troubled. Ezin had always been a guardian spirit of the village, watching over the people and keeping them safe from harm. Today, however, fear flickered in her transparent eyes. Ezin, what troubles you this morning? Adebi asked, her voice laced with concern. Oh, Adebi, Ezin began, her voice a whisper among the rustling leaves. A terrible threat looms over our village. A malevolent spirit from the far north has awakened. It seeks to devour the happiness and prosperity of your people. Adebi's heart raced. She had heard of such spirits in the stories, but she had never encountered one. How can we stop it? She asked, determination setting in. The spirit is drawn to the center of the village where the heart of the community beats strongest. You must convince the villagers to perform the old rites of protection. These rites have been forgotten, dismissed by many as mere superstitions, Ezin explained. Adebi knew this would be a challenge. Many in the village, especially the younger generation, had distanced themselves from old traditions. Convincing them would not be easy, but she was determined to protect her home. She hurried back to the village and went straight to the chief, a wise but stubborn man named Obiora. Adebi respected him, but she knew that he often doubted the old ways. Chief Obiora, Adebi began, we face a great threat. A malevolent spirit approaches, and we must revive the old rites to protect our village. Chief Obiora looked at her skeptically. Adebi, you are a brave child, but these are stories for the old. We cannot alarm the people with tales of spirits and ancient rites. Adebi felt a pang of frustration but did not give up. She spent the next days talking to anyone in the village who would listen. She shared her encounter with Ezin and explained the danger approaching. Slowly, some villagers began to believe her, especially the elders who still respected the old ways. As the days passed, the signs of the malevolent spirit's approach grew stronger. Crops began to wither, and a palpable sense of dread hung over the village. Faced with these ominous changes, more villagers joined Adebi's cause. Finally, with the support of the elders and those convinced, Adebi approached Chief Obiora again. This time, he could not ignore the changes in the village. Reluctantly, he agreed to allow the rites to be performed. The entire village gathered as the elders led the ceremony. They drew ancient symbols around the village square, lit fires that produced fragrant smoke, and chanted long-forgotten words. Adebi stood in the center, speaking to the spirits, asking for their protection. As the rites reached their peak, the sky darkened, and a cold wind swept through the village. A shadow loomed at the edge of the forest, its form large and menacing. The villagers clung to each other, fear rising, but they did not flee. They trusted Adebi. With a powerful voice, Adebi spoke the final words of the chant, her spirit connection pulsing with energy. The shadow halted, then shuddered, as if struck by an unseen force. Slowly, it receded, disappearing back into the depths of the forest. The village erupted in cheers, their belief in Adeabi and the old ways restored. Chief Obiora approached her, gratitude and respect in his eyes. "You have saved us, Adeabi. Your gift is truly a blessing to us all." From that day, Adeabi was no longer an outcast but a hero. Her connection with the spirits continued to protect the village, and the old traditions gained new life among the people. But as night fell and the celebrations continued, Adeabi felt a lingering unease. The threat had been driven away, but she knew the world of spirits was vast and full of mysteries. There were other challenges out there, waiting in the shadows, and she needed to be ready. So, the story of Adeabi, the girl who spoke to spirits, does not end here. It continues as she grows, learns, and prepares to face whatever comes next, armed with courage and the wisdom of both the old and the new. And so, our tale pauses, leaving Adeabi watching over her village, a young guardian between the worlds of the seen and the unseen. As the days turned into weeks, Adeabi's status in the village shifted from being a mere curiosity to that of a sage-like figure, even at her young age. People came to her for advice and to hear the stories of the spirits she spoke with. She was a bridge between the tangible world and the mysterious ether of the spirit realm. One bright morning, as Adeabi wandered through the outskirts of the village, she encountered a new spirit, one she had never seen before. This spirit, named Cheta, was youthful and playful, his presence shimmering like the surface of a lake under the sun. He laughed as he darted between trees, and his laughter was like the tinkling of bells. "Cheta," Adeabi called, her curiosity piqued by this joyful apparition. "Why are you so merry?" Cheta spun around, his form flickering. "Because, Adeabi, today is a day like no other. Today, the festival of the ancestors will begin in the spirit world. It is a time of great joy and celebration, where we honor those who have walked these lands before us." Adeabi's eyes widened with wonder. "A festival? Can the people of my village join?" Cheta's laughter faded into a soft smile. "Yes, but there is more you must know. This festival brings together not just the benign spirits but also those who hold grudges and malice. It stirs the spirit world greatly, and sometimes, the effects spill over into your world." Understanding dawned on Adeabi. The previous threat might have been vanquished, but the upcoming festival could potentially unleash new perils. "What can we do to ensure that only peace and joy reach our village?" she asked earnestly. "To protect your village, you must create a bond of celebration, not just in the spirit world but among your people as well," Cheta advised. "Hold a festival here that mirrors the one in the spirit world. Let the joy and reverence of your people create a shield of positive energy." Excited by this idea, Adeabi ran back to the village to share this new insight. She spoke to Chief Obiora, the elders, and anyone who would listen. Inspired by Adeabi's encounter with Cheta, the village decided to hold its own festival of the ancestors. They planned days of music, dance, and storytelling that would coincide with the spirit festival. As preparations began, Adeabi felt a sense of urgency. She returned to the forest daily, seeking guidance from Cheta and other friendly spirits on how to best mirror the spirit festival. They told her of specific flowers to decorate with, special songs to sing, and particular stories to tell that were significant to the spirits. The village transformed as everyone came together to decorate and prepare. Bright cloths in reds, yellows, and greens were hung from the houses and trees. Drums and flutes were brought out, and the air filled with the aroma of delicious foods being prepared. Finally, the festival of the ancestors began. Adeabi stood in the village square, watching as her people celebrated. The spirits, visible only to her, joined in, their forms glowing with happiness. It seemed as if the two worlds were one, connected by joy and respect for the ancestors. But as the first day of the festival drew to a close, Adeobi sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The wind grew colder, and the sky darkened. An uneasy feeling settled in her heart. She wandered away from the celebration towards the edge of the village, drawn by a force she couldn't explain. There, in the shadows of the trees, she saw a flicker of something sinister. A spirit, unlike the others, its form twisted and its presence heavy with malice. It was watching the village, its intentions unclear but undoubtedly malevolent. Adeobi knew this was a spirit stirred up by the festival in the spirit world, one that had slipped through, attracted by the surge of spiritual energy. She realized that the festival, while a source of joy, had also become a beacon for darker forces. Determined to protect her village, Adeobi approached the spirit. "Why do you lurk here?" she asked bravely, her voice steady despite her fear. The spirit hissed, its form swirling like smoke. "I seek the energy of joy and light, to devour it and turn it to despair." Adeobi knew she could not let this happen. She remembered Cheta's words about the power of celebration and joy. Quickly, she devised a plan to reinforce the village's protective energy, but she would need the help of every villager and spirit willing to stand with her. As the festival continued, unaware of the lurking threat, Adeobi prepared to face the dark spirit, knowing this confrontation might be her most challenging yet. As the festival's second day dawned, Adeobi gathered her courage and her allies. She spoke first to the spirits, who fluttered around her like leaves in the wind. Each promised to lend their strength to protect the village. Then, Adeobi turned to the people, her voice clear and strong, rallying the villagers with tales of their ancestors' bravery and the power of unity. Together, they enhanced the festival's festivities, their songs louder and their dances more spirited. The energy of joy and celebration grew palpable, thick in the air like the fragrance of blooming flowers. As night fell, the dark spirit moved closer, drawn by the light but repelled by the purity of the village's joy. Adeobi stood at the center of the village square, her heart pounding as she felt the approach of the malevolent entity. The air crackled with tension, the joyous shouts of the villagers clashing with the sinister whispers of the wind. With the whole village behind her, Adeobi raised her voice in a powerful chant, a plea for protection passed down through generations. The villagers joined in, their voices united in defiance of the darkness threatening their home. The spirit hesitated at the edge of the light, its form flickering uncertainly. For a moment, the outcome hung in the balance, the night air thick with the power of contrasting energies. As the chant reached its crescendo, the story takes a pause, leaving Adeobi and her village in a moment suspended in time, where the next breath could tip the scales toward light or shadow. What happens next remains to be seen, waiting to be continued in the next chapter of Adeobi's tale.